Lisa, on the problem you sent me from MyMathLab, it's asking you to actually draw on the same set of axes lines that pass through the origin, 0, 0, so that's why I wrote this point over here on the right, 0, 0, and then have varying slopes, the first slope being -1. Now what we want to remember with slope is that slope is always the rise over the run. So anytime I have an integer or a whole number slope, I always prefer to start off by actually writing it as -1 over 1. I put 1 in the denominator to remind me that the rise is a -1 and that the run is that +1 in the denominator, unless the fraction is the slope is given to me as a fraction, in which case you can already see the rise and the run. So the first thing we want to do anytime that we're graphing a line, when we have a point and the slope, is we start by actually placing our first point on the graph. So we'll start at 0, 0, and I'll place a point right here at 0, 0. Okay? So, and that happens to be the origin, so right in the center of the graph, 0, 0. X equals 0, x-axis is right here, and y-axis is up here on the top. Y-axis is the vertical axis. So from that point, now that we have the slope, we're going to use the rise over the run to generate a second point. So we start at the origin, and we're going to actually go down 1 unit because the rise is a -1. So we go down 1 unit, and then we have a +1 for the run, so we go over 1 unit. We place our second point right here. Okay? After we've placed our second point, we actually have enough to draw the line. All you need is 2 points to draw the line. If we wanted to, just to generate a couple more points, we could continue from that point. We could go down 1 unit over 1 unit again to get a third point, and down 1 unit over 1 unit to get a fourth point. Now those points are all using the slope since it's a rate of change, and we can then just connect the dots with a straight edge. So we just place our straight edge. If you're working in MyMathLab, after you've placed your second point, you actually want to use the ruler tool in MyMathLab. After you've placed your second point, you will automatically actually have the ruler tool will generate that line. Sorry about that. My digital pen slipped off the line. Okay, there we go. I kind of had to make it thick. Like I said, in MyMathLab, you'll actually have a nice straight edge, a ruler tool, and it will generate the point. So that is our first line. Now, our second line that it asked you to graph was -1/3. So when the slope is equal to -1/3, notice that I put the -1 on the top and the 3 on the bottom. I moved the negative from out in front of the fraction to the top of the fraction. If we want to create a line with a slope of -1/3, we'll again start at the origin, because all these lines are starting at the origin. And now we'll go down 1, but we'll go over 3 units to place a point. So we'll place our point right here. Again, we're using that point at the origin, so I'm going to make it kind of big here so you can see it on this video. And then we'll take our straight edge. Again, in MyMathLab, you'll just use the ruler tool. And when you place that second point, you'll have generated a line. And you know what, let me grab a different color here real quick. Let's try red. So our second line will be in red. I know my lines are looking kind of funny here, but I'm trying to just make them thick so you can really see them. And there is our second line through the origin, but with a slope of -1/3. And then you just continue drawing lines with the given slopes on the graph in MyMathLab. So I hope that helps, and just email me if you have any other questions.
Made with DoodleCast Pro.